Hello and welcome to a brand new show on the Nerds Are Us channel. It is the anime deep dive, or as it's known in Japan,
Anime no Shosai!
yes. So, as the name suggests, we pick a anime that we really like, and we are going to discuss about what we like, what we don't like, some theories, and what if scenarios. And hopefully you'll enjoy it with us. For our first show, we decided to do Naruto. And
Yes.
yeah, so, but as the caveat, we are only doing Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. We are not touching
Believe
on.
it.
Yeah, believe that.
Believe it.
We are not touching on
Believe
Boruto. Not yet, anyway.
No Boruto today. No Boruto today. Not happening.
So, obviously, for those that don't know, Naruto is a series about a knucklehead ninja who wants to be recognized as the best in his village.
I'm gonna be Hokage!
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's very hard for him to do that because he has a demon fox in his body.
Spoilers.
Ooh, that's explained in the first episode, so they never stop about it.
Mm.
But
So,
yeah,
a little bit about Naruto is have you got any fact sheets open with you there, Niall, to tell them when it was first produced? Look at us, we're so prepared.
I'm doing it from the head
So
for tonight.
Okay, so
professional.
when I first encountered Naruto, it was in like the early 2000s when I was in college, and I encountered it actually as a manga before I encountered the anime. So for me, this is like major retro going back, over 20 years. I've been a fan of Naruto. So it's kind of crazy when you consider it. Yeah, when you consider how old it is, but it still holds up today. And that's what I actually love about Kishimoto's work, is it's still very current. It's still very modern in the style that it's portrayed in. So it is lovely. It holds up right alongside some of the newer animes to date. When did you first encounter Naruto?
I first encountered Naruto through a friend of mine. He had introduced me to what? You're fucking staring at me in the corner. We have an extra person in the room. So yeah, Jay, by the way. Yeah. So yes, my friend Jay introduced me to Naruto because he had the DVDs, and he had as far as the tuning exam. So
I love the tuning exams.
yes.
I know.
Áine, what about you?
My very first time watching Naruto, it was about 2008. I was sitting in my sitting room, and I switched on one of the kids' channels because Caroline's sitting there with me. Caroline's my daughter. She was only 2 at the time, but I was scrolling through the kids' channels, and Naruto was playing on one of them. And the very first episode I ever watched was Rock Lee versus Gaara.
The best! So good!
And then after that, I was hooked. I was like, I need to watch it all.
To be honest, like if that fight does not get you into the show, then I don't know what will.
Actually, interesting fact about that fight: it was animated by Kishimoto himself.
It really shows, because there's definitely a different quality of animation.
Oh,
there's only like 5 or 6 fights throughout the entire show that he worked on.
I think,
and you can tell, which ones they are.
I think one of them was definitely Rock. I think 2 of them were Rock Lee related, weren't they?
2 of them were Rock Lee related. 2 of them were Sasuke related. One of them was Naruto related. On his own. Do you know the fight with Naruto and Sasuke on the pillars?
Yes.
The pillars, yeah.
That was done by him too. So you can tell the quality. It's entirely different. It's loose. It's really fluid and sketchy, I think is the best way to put it. As an animation student, we got very excited over it. We were like, oh my god, it was very good.
Like it's one of those animes that I found it's definitely your gateway anime if you've never watched anime before.
Because it was the very first anime
Yeah.
I ever watched.
And it's very easy to pick up. Even if you're, like I said, I was introduced when the tuning exams happened. So, and straight away I wanted to watch more. But I went back to the start and watched through.
Me too.
I also read the manga as well.
That is a good thing with Naruto is you can nearly start anywhere.
Yeah.
It's great. It doesn't matter where you come into it. There's so many different story arcs that you don't need to know what happened previously. So it helps.
Even when they transition to Shippuden. Shippuden. So, but like even when they transition to Shippuden, they you could easily start off from there anyway.
Yeah.
Where having to see the previous series.
Now, the thing I will say in the Shippuden crossover, instead of doing the Kakashi Gaiden, they did a Gaara Gaiden instead, and I was so disappointed about that. Because in the manga, you get the history and the backstory of Kakashi. And in the anime, they gave you Gaara. And I was like, no, I wanted to see Obito. But then they released it afterwards as an OVA. And I was like, thank goodness.
Yeah, it was actually
Obito is a very important character in it.
Which gave the context for later on. Like down the line.
Yeah.
But no one would peg it.
There's so much we could talk about in this that would give away spoilers, and we're not going to do that because there are some people who haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
But the thing about Naruto that I love the most is you can watch it episode by episode and jump in at any point, but every episode has little hints and little details that build up to thing. Yeah.
Like, that's fair enough. Like I was obviously because I started at the tuning exam. I got to see the fights. That's when I started, and instantly I was hooked. But what really impressed me was the Gaara and Rocket Lee fight, because the animation style completely changed, but the way it was structured was so good that like they started their fight, and obviously like Rocket Lee can't hit him, but he gets his permission from his teacher, Guy Sensei. And everyone's just like, weighted clothing? Really? Like, just not realizing how much weight he actually is carrying.
It was such
like
a
that scene, like just that visual alone was just like, oh shit.
And then there's the whole thing with Gaara at the end of that fight, because you're like, should I like him? Should I hate him? How should I feel about this character?
Right?
You're not sure.
Here's the thing. It's funny you mentioned the weights. It's the only thing us animation students have a problem with is the drop of those weights. Because if they were that heavy enough to cause that explosion, it wouldn't have taken them that long to fall. The timing was so bad on the fall.
Well, you know it was slowed down for dramatic effect, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. But as animation students, we were all like, no. No.
It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen like that. No.
Physics, man. Physics. We don't care that you can stand on the ceiling. Physics.
Yeah, forget your logic there. Like, we don't mind that, but like, weighted clothes like falling, like weights falling off.
Weights are to do with gravity. It's nothing to do with chi.
Katra. No. But,
sorry, yes. Chakra.
Katra. No,
Chakra.
but yeah, like it's like the story development over a long period of time is done very well.
It is.
Now, like it does suffer the same tropes as other animes where there's a lot of filler that obviously because the manga hadn't even caught up.
Naruto is in its own league. They have arcs of filler. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
does
do
all
Bleach.
anime.
So do Bleach.
So does Bleach.
Yeah. Like Naruto did their fillers really badly. Bleach did it really well.
Apart from a handful of Naruto episodes are like golden. Like the mask.
So Kakashi's mask is the best
Kakashi's
filler
mask
of the
is good.
series.
But the thing about Kakashi's mask is it's actually a manga extra that was put in a Shonen Jump magazine.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually, technically it wasn't a filler. It was a short story that Kishimoto wrote. So I'm like, that was okay.
Well, it wasn't
That was
part of the main
gloriously
continuity, so it's technically a filler.
It wasn't part of the main series, no. Yeah.
One of the things I love about Naruto is that right from the get-go, it's like from the very first episode, it's telling you this is not a child anime. This is not going to be, oh yes, this is cutesy. No, this is
absolutely.
This is heavy shit. It deals with stuff that, you know.
It gets dark very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, first example of that would be.
Oh yeah, like they're not afraid to show blood or broken bones.
Yes, exactly that. And it's almost that when you look at it, they're talking about these are kids, right? These are kids, but they're being put in these situations. They're being put in these situations that are terrifying most adults, you know?
Yeah.
And then the first arc that it gets into, which is the Zabuza arc, is very dark. It deals with dark stuff straight away.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like, the first mission.
Corruption, like, kidnapping,
when you
death.
Yeah.
Loads of stuff.
There's so much in that, and it was only meant to be a simple, easy mission.
Yeah.
You know, and that's also, it's kind of a coming of age arc as well.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Because that's when Naruto discovers the QB.
Yeah.
He discovers what's inside him. Because he never knew why he was shunned by the village. He never knew what was going on. And now all of a sudden he knows. He's just this demon boy with all this extra power.
Yeah. And so no clue how to really utilize it.
Yeah.
But
that's exactly it, yeah.
As part of the long-term storyline, it's amazing to watch that develop. And him slowly learning how to do it, how to tap into it.
Exactly. And that's the one thing I loved about Naruto. More than any other show, it actually shows the training process.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not like, I'm going to stand here and not saying anything in particular and roar for about 5 minutes as I concentrate.
17 episodes later. It's still happening.
Not referencing anything or anything. But no, Naruto was great in that he wasn't perfect straight away. In fact, close.
Yeah. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of work.
But that was a big selling point for it.
Exactly.
Because they wanted to show that determination and hard work really will pay off.
Yeah. And it was even like one of my weakest skills. Something I could never do is now my strongest asset. And it's literally teaching people that if you keep it up, if you practice, and if you look at it from a different point of view in a different way, you'll be able to do it. And that's what I loved about Naruto. I had all these lovely life lessons in it, as well as being really freaking dark and complex.
And this is the thing with Naruto as well, especially later on in the series, and in Shippuden especially, really, is that you knew these enemies are very, very powerful enemies that are coming into this, and you're like, how is he going to beat them? And if he's been trained at the time when they arrive, you're like, is he going to make it back in time? Is he going to be able to beat these people? What is he going to do? Like,
so much suspense.
And how are people going to die because of this? Like,
and that was always a worry because they were never shy about killing off characters.
And the thing is about Naruto is that once they, more often than not, if a character dies, that's it. They're gone.
Yeah.
The thing you said more often than not there. There was that one time. No spoilers.
There is that one anime that like death doesn't matter. It has no consequence.
Now I will not shit on that anime because it's still one of my favorites. But
yeah.
But no, I will say though in Naruto there was just that one time, and no one knows whether the escape plan is all I'll say. I'm not going to spoil it. Whether that was actually meant to be there, or if it was because of the backlash that Kishimoto had for killing off a certain character.
I know what you mean.
He had so much backlash after that. And then all of a sudden there was a way for them to come back.
Yeah. Which did end up playing out in the later story.
It did.
Yeah. One big thing about Naruto from the first episode until the last episode of Shippuden is there is a story and everything ties in to that story.
Yeah.
Every time they meet a new person, they tie into the overall story.
Yeah.
It all happens. You know, and
the
it all
other
ends
great thing about Naruto is there's no villains per se. There's bad guys, there's people you're against, but you also learn that they have their motives and they have their reasons, and when you find out their motive and reasons, more often than not you're like,
you sympathize with them more.
Yeah, you're like, well, I can't really fault them for that.
Yeah, because a lot of them tend to be on a relatable level where what they're doing is for, in their mind, a very good cause or for a good purpose.
Yeah.
So
Pain is a great example of that.
Yeah.
An absolutely brilliant example of it, actually. Sabaza is also a really good example of it. And he was not a nice person. He's not a nice person at all. But he had legit motives.
He had motives. He had a reason to. None of the bad guys per se do it for just the fun of it. You know what I mean? They actually have a reason they're doing it.
For one of them. One of them was a villain for villain's sake.
Yeah.
That was what was his name? Kishin, was it? The immortal guy.
Kasame.
No, not Kasame. The immortal guy. Kasame had a reason.
Hidan,
that's the one.
He was just
an asshole.
because he could be.
But goddamn, like that set up as such a good arc, though.
Right, but Kasame was one of the 7 swordsmen.
Yeah.
So he had a reason for being there. But Hidan was just all like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna kill people because my god wants it, bitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's so weird.
Oh yeah.
Now, another thing about Naruto, they have a diverse characters. Like they have quite a few different types of people. That some of them are relatable, some of them are not so relatable. Like
some of them get shit on for no reason.
Yes, yeah, and some of them you should hate, but you
don't.
You end up loving them.
Like there's the example. Like Ten is one that gets shit on all the time.
She's so awesome.
She's so cool.
And one that you should actually hate, especially at the start, is the likes of Gaara.
Yeah, you're supposed to hate him, but you don't.
You don't. And
Right?
there's again, it plays into long-term storytelling.
He's so
His
cool,
arc
though.
throughout the whole series is just fantastic as well.
But then you have like Jiraiya,
Mm.
who in
Is that-
every aspect, you shouldn't like this man. He's neglectful, he's a drunk, he's a gambler, he's a womanizer.
He's a pervert.
Pervert.
Like, every aspect of that man you should hate. But
Mhm.
you don't.
No.
You end up growing to love him, and you're like,
Yeah.
you know, it gets you in the fields.
It does get you in the fields, but the thing is, when you actually think about Jiraiya, he was Naruto's godfather, and he
Yeah.
abandoned him.
Like, he left him there. He knew what kind of life he was living.
Mm.
When you think about
Jiraiya
it,
was an
when you
actual
think about
asshole.
it, the Hidden Leaf is kind of a messed up place.
Yeah.
All right, it's a very messed up place.
It's very, very messed up.
What they did, how they treated Naruto, how they treated Sasuke,
Mm.
when they know what they did to him. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, obviously, like, yes, the village is very questionable in what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't want anyone to know what happened, but at the same time, they've also caused him so much trouble in the process. And I mean, like, even the fourth isn't safe. Like,
No.
he's not like a saint. He did this. Sorry, spoilers. We will have some spoilers in this,
You have to.
but there's no way around it. But he did it to his son.
Mm-hmm.
This was his son. He implanted the.
In all fairness, that's kind of obvious from the get-go.
Yeah, it's obvious to us, but it's not obvious. Like, it's not obvious to certain characters in it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not addressed either.
No.
They did a very good job of avoiding that.
It's really heartbreaking when you think about it, because even when the fourth was doing it at the time, it was his intention that his son be treated as a hero. And he was not. He was treated as an outcast.
Yeah.
And it was awful what was done to Naruto.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other aspect of it, with Sasuke's clan and the deal that was made there, not getting into that side of things, but he should have been treated as an outcast.
But
Should
was,
have
But
been.
he was
but
treated
was highly regarded.
when
Yeah.
he knew very well what they did to his family.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, they ruined his life. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they were patting him. Now, as much as I love a lot of members of that village, they are messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, like, they are
all the
so
villages
messed up.
are.
But then again,
All of them are.
but
Yeah,
then again,
yeah.
with that whole thing, you still have that parallel that's gone throughout the whole series between Naruto and Sasuke.
yeah.
I mean, whereas Naruto is ostracized, Sasuke isn't,
Mm-hmm.
and their situation should be actually reversed.
Yeah.
So like, it kind of plays into like what ifs, or if you change certain things. Like, to me, like, all right, if you don't have Ebisu as Naruto's teacher, you do not get him meeting Jiraiya.
Yeah.
He doesn't meet Jiraiya.
He might meet him later down the line, but not in that way, and not
No.
learn stuff quicker.
The way he did. Now, as well as that, if you didn't have this situation in the forest beforehand,
Mhm.
which was Sasuke and you know who, then Kakashi never would have been busy in the first place. So
Mhm.
Naruto never would have had Ebisu, and he never would have met Jiraiya.
Yep.
That's just how it happens. You know what I mean?
Which also, there's another one as well. Like, if Kakashi never recommended them for the Chunin exam, what would have happened? They wouldn't have bumped into Orochimaru. I
Yeah.
don't think until later. And even then, like, I think Sasuke would have had a better chance if he
Maybe.
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't say he wouldn't.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no,
you'd
no,
have a
no.
better
I
chance.
get you. Because the thing is, as well, with Sasuke's situation, is that stuff could have been done so differently.
He's a bitch and I hate him.
But the thing is, not all of the stuff he did was like it was horrible. Some of the stuff he did later on, but it all falls back on their hands. Would he have went that way if they hadn't have done what they did?
No. Yes and no.
Yeah.
A lot of it is Sasuke himself.
No, a lot of it is
given-
him. He's a bitch. All right,
Yeah.
like he is a bitch, but at
He
the
was
same
given every opportunity
to change his ways.
yeah, to change his ways and to be a force for good. So even taking Orochimaru out of that, when he got the power he wanted from Orochimaru, he was given the opportunity to come back, and he refused.
Mm-hmm.
He refused it outright, and it's like, why? When he found his target, when he found his brother, revelations were had there, and he was given an opportunity to come back
Change
and
it.
yeah, to change it up.
Change history.
Yeah, and
he still went and done the opposite.
Yeah, and expressly against the wishes of someone close to him.
Yeah.
You know, he went expressly against those wishes, which is so messed up because
when you think about it, at that age, at that point, they were basically adults. All right, I know they were still technically teenagers, but he had so much experience. He had so much knowledge at this point. He could have made a clear choice here.
Yeah.
It's like, am I going to be an evil son of a bitch, or am I going to be, an understandable person who recognizes right from wrong? But no, he didn't, and he knew everything he did was wrong. He knew,
and he did it anyway.
Now, some of it, I don't hold against him.
Danzo.
Danzo's a bitch. All right, he deserved it.
No, Danzo was a prick.
Danzo deserved that 100 times over. Okay, and I am so happy that he suffered.
Yeah. But like, talking about like his team, what was it? Team Heavy?
7.
Not Team Heavy.
Team Hawk.
Team
Hawk, yeah, that's the one.
Oh yeah, such a weird one.
Yeah, I know.
That team had so much potential, but was just a carbon copy
of Team
Team 7.
Team 7, like it was just Team 7 just downplayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
When you actually think about the characters themselves, like Karen had so much potential to be something amazing. And then there was that huge reveal of her family lineage, and you're like, oh my god, they're going to do something with this. And then they do nothing with it.
Like, to me, like, when I found that out, I was like, why aren't they addressing this?
Mm-hmm.
If that's supposed to be a clan trait, why isn't this being addressed as like, shit, this is a relative?
It's a huge thing. It's
like,
a huge
he's not
thing.
alone.
Right? Careful
and
spoilers on this
she was
one.
just
exactly. That's why I didn't say who.
Yeah.
She was just put aside, and that was the thing.
She was just a background character.
Yeah. And she should have been more important.
Like, it was the same with all of them, though. All of them had so much potential.
What's
like
his name?
Kasame's fight and starts with an S. Pointy teeth guy. Yeah, Sugetsu and Kasame's fight never even got played out for us, and that was like a huge thing.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
What is Sugetsu and what's the other man's name?
The
big, quiet, animal-loving guy.
Who freaks out whenever he's pissed off.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the problem is...
We don't even remember their names.
We don't even remember their names. And they had so much potential. They had so much potential. And they were just kind of like, well, we just kind of put them in there because we didn't want Sasuke to be a loner.
Yeah.
Which he is anyway.
And Karen's whole personality at the start...
It screams Sakura.
It's Sakura, yeah. It's Sakura with an attitude.
Sakura with an attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sakura had an attitude anyway, so...
No, not a Karen attitude. Karen was like a full-on dominatrix. Sakura was like, oh no, senpai. But I get angry.
the thing is, as well, is that Sakura in the early series had no personality.
None.
She started to get one, and then they took it all away.
And they took it away. Yeah. As soon as Sasuke came back, they retconned her, and I'm like, what the like? I
Like,
mean,
this is it, because
seriously.
in the early part of Shippuden is people keep going on and saying, "Oh, Sakura's so useless." It's like, hang on. She saved a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
The thing I will say about Kishimoto, I love Naruto. I loved the story. I loved how it was played out, but he cannot write women for shit.
Like,
It's true.
why there wasn't Hinata given a bigger role? Like, Hinata is amazing.
Forget Hinata. Forget Ino. Forget Tamari. Forget Sakura. Forget them all. The one that I'm most pissed off about is Tsunade.
Tsunade, yeah.
She was a Hokage. She had the ability to regenerate, to heal people. She had super strength. She's fucking awesome. And what do? They kill her off because she's so weak and needs help from men.
Yeah, like, literally, later on in it, she nearly died. The only reason she was saved was because of what's Orochimaru.
Yeah.
Orochimaru is like the number one enemy in the beginning of the series.
Yeah.
Turns into
their savior because you know what I mean. Well, he had a bond.
But even at that, her whole reason for fighting was a man. Her whole reason for getting back into fighting was Naruto. Her whole reason for doing things was always some guy. Even her assistant, who was so fucking kick ass, was always in the background. They never gave women.
I love the anime, but for God's sake, like, this is one of my biggest issues with the early series. And I love Naruto, oh my god. But at the same time, I hated how shitty they treated, like, the female characters, especially Sakura. Because Sakura needed more training than she was getting in the early series, and she wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. It was only when Tsunade came to the village and she was like, I want to be your apprentice. And she was like, okay, let's train you. There you go. She was great then when they came back to it. Like
some of the
and without her, you know, the village of the sand would have fucking been devastated because Gaara was gone, brother was gone, everyone was fucking dying left, right, and center, and then Sakura's just all like, I can help y'all.
Yeah. Who says Kankuro?
Yeah, Kankuro is saved. She comes up with
the
antidote,
and Lady Chio.
Yeah, and no one had been able to come up with an antidote for Sasori's.
And then I know people say it's with Lady Chio's help, but she defeats an Akatsuki member.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And it's so fucking brave as well. The way she does it is literally use my body like a puppet. I don't care what happens to me. Just use me so you can defeat him. She's literally so self-sacrificing at that moment, and she's so amazing. And that was her coming of age arc.
That was her peak.
Yeah.
And coming of age, you're right, because her peak is the war.
Yes.
Yeah, her peak is in the war. It's like,
but that in that sense, it's also so frustrating that when she meets Sasuke with the intention of killing him,
because I was like, oh shit, is she actually going to kill him? But then of course she sees him and she's like,
And that just pissed me off
Doughy-eyed.
so hard, the way she does a 180 straight
The
away.
minute
And
she
I'm
meets
like, no, not after you've been betrayed by him so many times, after you've seen Naruto broken so many times over him, and you're just going to switch like that. Girl, I've lost all respect for you.
Not only that, like her little ploy to stop Naruto as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
that
you.
was not okay.
Now, you're basically using his feelings for you against him.
As a
Which,
way, as a means to an end, like. And this is the thing, is that she's one of the most hated characters from the whole series.
Yeah,
And like, I can argue about it all day long, but I understand why people don't like her because of simple things like that.
yeah,
Then, I mean, then you go later on into the war. I remember when the guy is like telling her he loves her. Remember, she's treating a guy and he's telling her he loves her, and she's like, no,
yeah.
still love him.
She's-
Like,
It frustrates me. The
because
whole
it would have been.
this is
Because what if she had have just been like, do you know what? Fuck him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That would have changed so many things.
Well, that's the
This
thing.
is
Take
this
those-
is
those
a
change-
phrase you're going to hear from me a lot during all of our talks. You're going to hear me mention forced pairings. Naruto is so rife with forced pairings. From the very start, it was Sakura and Sasuke, and from the very start, it was Hinata and Naruto, and from the very start, it was Tamari and Shikamaru. From the very start, even though you've seen relationships building up with other characters that would have worked better, like Kiba and Hinata would have worked really, really well together.
They were so cute.
It was really, really cute. The only one that actually worked was Tamari and Shikamaru.
Because that was a relationship they built over time, you know, and you were like,
exactly it.
So
but every other relationship in that was entirely forced.
Yeah.
Completely forced.
Yeah, like one of the issues I have with Naruto and Hinata. Hinata literally confesses to him, and like in that fight with Pain, she's on the ground. She's like, I love you, and just goes away.
Yeah, he ignores it. He doesn't even acknowledge it afterwards. After everything is said and done, he doesn't acknowledge it at all. Which, if he had feelings for her, he would have acknowledged it afterwards.
He would have been like, "Oh, I love this girl," and I know he fights for her. I know he fights for her, but
he would have fought for anyone.
He would have fought for anybody from that village.
Exactly it. And I know later on they give arc in, I think it's in Boruto somewhere, they give an arc which explains how they actually fall in love and everything like that. But
it's in the movie. It's the last movie.
That's what it is. It's in the movie, but it's very kind of like pandering. I think is the best way to put it. It's just pure pandering. I don't like forced pairings.
Yeah, like the whole Sasuke Sakura thing. On her behalf, it was unconditional love.
Unrequited.
Yeah, and she was like, no, she would always love him, regardless of what he did to her or anybody else. She would always love him. On his behalf, on his end, though, it was love of convenience.
Yeah. But this is another reason why I say forced pairings, because everything in that series pointed to Sakura not really loving him.
Yeah.
Not really loving him at all. Not even knowing who he was.
Yeah.
Yet Kishimoto had decided this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to force it that way through.
The thing as well with them too is that she slowly started to learn who he was as a person,
and didn't like it.
She didn't like it,
No.
That's who he was. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is it. Like, I know, yes, he changed later on, but it's not the point.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He's so
But
selfish.
even at that, he didn't change. I've had people say that, yeah, but in the war, in the last battle, he did actually change.
No, he
He was
didn't,
fighting
because
with
he
them. And I'm like, no, he fucking
immediately
didn't.
switched.
Yeah,
He
at the
immediately-
very end, he switched again. And even after that, after everything was said and done, he saw, like, yeah, I could come back to the village and be like a good father and I could be a good husband, but fuck y'all. Laters.
Like, this is the thing, right? With the war, it was the lesser of two evils, right? He was helping them defeat a bigger enemy, so then
Yeah,
he was the main one.
yeah,
Like, you know, and
yeah.
I know it ended fairly quick afterwards because they had their fight, and they had their fight,
yeah,
and they nearly killed each other,
yeah,
and it was Sakura had to come and save them
yeah,
from bleeding out. You know,
yeah, yeah. It
Literally.
was so stupid, though. It was so stupid
But
for...
I wanted to see her just slap him
Yeah,
once,
yeah.
like just hit him. You know,
Like, I wanted her to save
Fine.
Naruto and just be all like, well, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah, but she wouldn't have done that anyway.
No.
That's the thing. Like, if you were to play off that, you would have thrown people off so bad if you did that. Because I mean, yes, there's forced pairings, and okay, they can still end up together, but it would have been nice to see the parting. Basically, it's like,
Yeah.
no, we're going separate ways. Like, fuck you, I don't like you.
Like,
Yeah.
But
it just-
then find each other
it was
again
very,
later on.
very poorly handled. The relationships in that show entirely was
Like-
so poorly handled. Let me just say, Sai and Ino, whichever way you want to pronounce it,
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
The first time he sees her, he called her ugly.
Yeah. So
Literally.
Like,
He goes, hello,
came out of nowhere.
beautiful. After thinking, well, you say what you opposite you think. Like,
So he basically called her ugly. Like,
yeah, basically he calls her ugly. And they somehow end up having a child together. Like, no.
I know that at one point, in the later Shippuden series, it's like she's worried about him, and then she sees him, and she's like, you know, but where did that come from?
That was just
Like,
put in the anime.
so
It was
convenient.
never in the manga.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is there was a lot of things put in the anime that didn't exist in the manga. Like a lot of interactions between Hinata and Naruto were in the anime that were never in the manga. So even though in the anime, for people only watching the anime, the relationship between Hinata and Naruto seems a bit more plausible. In the
Yeah.
manga, it's completely out left field. Completely.
Really?
Yeah, there's no interaction between them at all, other than that war scene.
barely.
Yeah.
It's
Literally,
always from a
Hinata
distance.
is his stalker.
Yeah,
That's
very
it.
much. He essentially fell for his stalker.
Yeah, and
Wow.
he didn't even know her name until Kiba introduces her.
yeah,
well,
reminded
reminds her,
him.
introduces her, because he doesn't even know who she is. She is at one stage Neji's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he knows her.
Neji and Ten should have been together.
They should have been. They should have been. It's very frustrating for me. It's very, very frustrating because a lot of the relationships in Naruto were so very poorly handled, and the writing in it is so good.
Yeah,
And the build up and the complex storyline, because there's hints all the way through that lead up to big reveals later on, that if you look close enough, you can guess it. Because I guessed a few big things really early in the series because of little hints that were put in. And that kind of writing takes a lot of thought and a lot of pre-planning. And if you can do that, why can't you write good, healthy relationships? That's what frustrates me.
Like going back, like with the like obviously because he's terrible with women. Like for first example of that is the likes of like Kurenai Sensei and Anko.
Yes.
Like literally, they're a big deal during the tuning exam, and after that, you see more of Kurenai because she's with Asuna, and then when Asuna is killed off, basically. Sorry, but then
Spoiler.
Kurenai is like basically forgotten about.
She's just the baby mama.
Yeah,
That's it.
like so it was just like a quick way to get, and then next time you see Anko is like just a random scenario for
Yeah.
It's much
later,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
No.
just terrible handling.
Really, really badly handled. Really badly handled. And even at that, going back to Kurenai, for instance, Kurenai is the only other ninja that can do illusion magic in there to the extent of the Uchihas without being an Uchiha. She is a huge fucking deal
Yeah,
because she has illusion magic on par.
yeah, she
with-
has Aijutsu.
Yeah, with
without being a UGI, as you said.
Yeah,
And like they
exactly.
downplayed her to hell. Like it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
and
Well,
considering the amount of ninjas that were in the class, there wasn't that many girls, and that annoyed me too, because even in history of Japan, Kunichi were really important. They were really important, and they were often seen as more adept and more capable than men because they were lighter of feet and they were overlooked in situations, so they could do stealth missions and things like that. Kunichi were really, really important, and they didn't utilize that in Naruto, which I was
Yeah.
very surprised about. In all of the villages, like in all of the villages, there was very few female ninjas, and it's like, why? Even one who you thought was a female turned out to be male.
yeah, we won't go down that fucking
Yeah.
rabbit hole. Jesus,
Yeah, it's crazy.
like
It's absolutely
And
crazy.
this is it, as you said, because Lady Tsunade, realistically, is one of the most powerful kunoichis around.
Yeah.
Like, she is so strong.
Yeah.
And this is it, like, and there's other, what's your one, the Hokage, one of the other villages, she wears like a blue dress and has
The
red hair.
Mizukage.
Mizukage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really, really cool as well. Like,
Yeah.
and this is it, like,
And they don't use her.
No,
They don't use her to the extent that they could. Like, why? Even the one tail, the one not the one tail, the
No,
two tail
that's
cat spirit.
the two-tail.
Two Tail.
She's
Yeah.
killed
She
off
kill
like
off
that.
quick.
Yeah, and that's crazy because she's fully compatible with her spirit and would have been able to do a lot more than
Then
they
say the
played
likes
her
of a
off
Naruto
as.
or
Yeah.
B or
Yeah,
like
but yet
granted B
Killer
was
Bee
like
is
in harmony with like his like Jinchuriki, but like still.
Yeah, but like at this point, Naruto wasn't. And
No.
I mean, he was able to put up a better fight.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. It really frustrated me. It did frustrate me a lot.
Like, that's one of the things I don't like about the series. Is that,
Yeah.
like, they have so many good, brilliant characters that could have such fantastic stories behind them. Or like they could grow to be great characters, and they're like, yeah, they grew, but nothing.
What next?
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Let's backtrack a little bit. Like, let's make their appearance better, but their personality lacks.
Yeah.
Really.
It is the major peeve that I have in it with Naruto is lack of strong female characters being utilized and forced relationships.
Yeah.
That's my peeve with Naruto. Storytelling is amazing. Animation is
It's
amazing in a
amazing.
lot of parts, and in some parts you're like, oh, what's going on? Usually fillers. Usually on the
Yeah.
fillers you're like, excuse me,
They get past. It's a
really?
filler.
Yeah, it's a filler. But yeah, it on the whole it is a very, very strong series. It just has got its issues, but it is one of the few animes that had a moment in it that made me cry.
Which one?
Which was it?
Who died?
Now I can't say anything because spoiler.
Ah, who gives a shit? Go on,
Yeah,
tell
well,
us.
true. Jiraiya, at Jiraiya's moments.
The frog?
Yeah,
Ah,
that
yeah.
that broke me. That was the part that broke me, and I was like, "You've taken away so much from Naruto already. How can you take him away too?"
Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the Jiraiya thing happening. It didn't hit me, but what really got me was when Naruto finds out,
Finds out.
Yeah,
because
It's so
you're
heartbreaking.
learning, like, you're basically experiencing it through his perspective
yeah,
anyway. So for his reaction to basically just go from his always go-getter attitude to just the complete 180, like
yeah.
he's questioning his life in
The
general.
split pot was really the kicker when he had the ice pot that you split in two, and he
Yeah.
bought one.
Yeah.
That just got me right in the feels, and I was like, no, Kishimoto, this is not okay. This is not okay.
Plenty of
What are
moments
you
like
doing
that.
to me?
I mean,
No.
even later down the line, like Neji.
Yeah, yeah,
Neji's moment is so out of nowhere.
yeah, and it's underplayed after. It's
Yeah.
like this happened. Oh well, whatever.
I mean, like, at the time that happens, it's like, what is going on? No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and what's worse with that situation was like, wasn't it? Wasn't the what are they called?
What, the Umble?
No, the bad guys.
Akatsuki.
No, the in the war.
Uh,
The white guys and all.
Zetsu?
The Zetsu. Didn't they take on the appearance of some of the? One of them took on the appearance of Neji. Or so one of the bad guys took on the appearance of Neji.
No.
I don't remember
Somebody
that
did.
myself.
I can't remember what the situation was. Oh god, I can't remember anyway. But like, yeah, they really do downplay it later on.
Yeah, they really do. They really, really, really downplay it, and I don't like the fact that Neji went from being this amazing character with his 360 shield to someone that wasn't easily defeated but shouldn't have been defeated in the way he was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
because it didn't sit well with me at all how he was beaten.
again, it was also another character that went through so much development through
Yeah.
the course of the series, and
Yeah.
it's just, and this is basically where you want to go with.
Yeah, like,
Oh,
especially considering with Neji and Hinata, there was the whole rift between the
two
main
families.
family and the branch family, and that rift was finally starting to close, and the whole idea of having to, seal off one side of the family was being almost like talked about being abolished and stuff like that. And then they go and kill Neji, and it's like,
They forget about that conversation altogether.
yeah, you completely forget about it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really silly. It's really silly the way they handle that. It's like, well, we're going to get rid of this so we don't have to go any further with it. Basically,
Basically,
it's,
ah, yeah,
it's
you're
lazy
you're right.
writing.
Like obviously, like now with Naruto being so long, and obviously if you're very dedicated, you will watch through the fillers as well.
Mhm.
But I kind of talked about it before. It's the fact that like if you change certain interactions or take out certain interactions, where would
Mm,
the story go?
yeah, crazy.
What would you have changed or taken out? And
Mm,
how do you think that would play out?
okay, well,
There you go.
I would have changed Jiraiya leaving him as a baby.
Well, instantly that changes the entire story.
The entire
Yeah.
story is changed. But in the sense of Naruto would have been loved, first of all, but he would have been trained from a young age to
Harness the
control
power.
his Jinchuriki, yeah, can harness and control it. But Jiraiya, you could tell from the outside, was already working the Akatsuki. I can't say the word today. Um, he was working with them, and you knew he had someone on the inside. So he would have had a better way of protecting Naruto from them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He would have been able to give Naruto better defenses. Naruto would have already have learned how to do Rasengan at a very early age. There wouldn't have been a rivalry between Naruto and Sasuke because they would have been on equal standing. Um,
Or
he would have
potentially,
been
like Naruto could have been on a higher standing than
could have been
Sasuke.
could have been on a higher
Potentially.
standing than Sasuke. They probably would have ended up on different teams because they were trying to balance them out with power. He would have been in a more healthy relationship with his team members because you wouldn't have had someone just looking at him as he was stupid and the other one who did nothing but ignore him entirely.
Mhm.
Um, he wouldn't have ended up with Kakashi, or he might have done. It depends, but
He wouldn't have been the character he was, so I
he
like.
he wouldn't have been the character that he was in the sense of he wouldn't have had to go through the drastic um, growth that he needed to go
Yeah.
through. It would have been a
Mhm.
slower pace, and he would have been more well-rounded, mentally well-rounded, and he would have been physically stronger. Now, I still think he would have been targeted by the Akatsuki. He still probably would have ended up in a rivalry, but more healthy rivalry with Sasuke. He
Yeah.
probably still would have ended up having to go after Sasuke because he would have still fucked off after meeting Orochimaru, being in the Chunin
Mhm.
exam, blah 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 blah. And he probably still would have went after him because he would have still been rivals with him, but it would have been in a healthier way.
Yeah. It wouldn't have
Yeah.
been obsessive and this is my only goal in life,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Exactly. He still would have had the encounters with Gara because the tuning exams would still go ahead, and he still would have been part of the tuning exams. He would have been better educated as well because
Yeah.
the reason he was so ignorant wasn't because he was stupid, it was because he wasn't given the time of day to be properly educated. And if Jiraiya had been there, he would have been, and he would have been eating healthy, and he would have
One
been.
thing.
Go on.
One thing I have to say against Jiraiya as a trainer,
Mm,
he is very, very dangerous in some of the ways he trains Naruto.
yeah.
Like he was training him, he was teaching him stuff that no teenager should have been able to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So if he had have been there from when he was a kid, could you imagine how dangerous Naruto would have been by the time he became who he was?
yeah.
Like
He would have been an incredibly
strong
dangerously
and
powerful character.
yeah. And
But
So much so that I think the village would actually turn on him for fear that he might actually
there's the
be
thing
a
is,
danger to the village
the
in
thing is,
general.
with Jiraiya, he is strong and intelligent and as powerful as he was as a trainer. He was he didn't mind pushing the boundaries.
that's true. But if the village turned on Naruto, do you think Jiraiya would have left Naruto in the village?
I don't know.
I think he would have taken him with him.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You
But
know,
then again,
because
I think you
he
might
was
have
a traveling hermit.
but then again, these are our theories about it, and like
Yeah,
it's
it's complete theory.
like
Complete theory.
like that's a good one because like it like just by one change could change the entire series.
Mhm.
Whereas like what I was saying earlier, it's like there's small changes, but do affect like how certain events play out.
Yeah.
And like what would you have changed, or at least like maybe taken out?
Well, personally, I think, sorry.
God, you had to ask her a question when she had her mouth full. So inconsiderate.
Yeah.
I personally think one of my biggest things about it is that they should have, focused on certain aspects of characters more so than, oh, we need to train you this way so you can fight. Yes, through training, they built their personalities. But one of my biggest things I still hate about the original series is that they didn't train Sakura. She had so much potential. Like in the first, what was it, the 10th episode, 9th or 10th? The tree climbing episode?
Yeah.
She had the best chakra control of them all. So she has the potential to learn any jutsu.
Yeah.
But
so, what do you
Kakashi's
think would
case,
happen if they did focus on Sakura? How would that change the series?
I think she would have been a lot stronger and a lot more capable in a very early time, And like, yes, I know she needed Lady Tsunade for that, to be who she was, but she could have at least gotten the basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She could have at least gotten the basics out of the way. Like, yes, Kakashi was training her, but she needed more than just, oh, here's a bit of training. Like, here, you can do this, you can do that, you can climb a tree. You're great.
And how would that have changed the show?
I don't know if it would have changed the show, but it would have changed the character. You know what I mean?
You see, I don't know about that. I think it would have changed the show if Sakura had have been a stronger character. She wouldn't have gotten into trouble half the time and had to be rescued by the boys, which put them in serious situations.
Serious danger. A lot of
she would have saved them a couple times. Actually,
yeah, she would have saved them a couple of times. Exactly it. It would have created more of a balance in it as
team.
well. Yeah, it would have created more of a balance in the team.
Now, at the same time, I do understand it as well that when they come back through the time gap that is Naruto and Shippuden, that when they come back, she is all of a sudden this very powerful character, and she's able to fight and she's able to do all these great things. This is awesome, but at the same time, she could have done so much in the early series.
Yeah,
like, and as you said yourself, she wouldn't have needed Naruto and Sasuke and Kakashi there at every time there was a fight.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it was a lot of people questioned it. Why was she even at the fights?
Yeah.
Like, she couldn't fight. What was she doing there? Like,
yeah.
I understand now. In the forest, she was needed.
She was needed
in the forest.
Yeah.
Because she took care of them.
Her whole "I'm standing up to protect Sasuke." It wasn't protecting Naruto. It was Sasuke's in there.
Yeah.
And it was all like about Sasuke.
She was like, she had this childhood crush, which all the girls had a crush on him anyway. But she had this childhood crush, which became an obsessive kind of crush. You know what I mean?
Really unhealthy.
Really unhealthy, and she was constantly in close contact with him, which didn't help. So by the time he left, she was already done for. She was already madly in love with him. That she couldn't see any other way of looking at things. Whereas if she had have been, like the way Sasuke was taken away by Kakashi and trained in person. Naruto was trained in person. What would they do with Sakura? She was just sitting
she
there.
was just left on her own. And even in the tuning exams, this actually pissed me off, right?
Yeah.
She was in a huge fight with Ino. And I have to say, Ino was really, really clever in how she did it.
Oh yeah, that was
so
a decent
so
fight.
clever. Yeah, that was really, really clever how she did it. But Sakura was strong enough to break out of a mental hold that she shouldn't have been able to break out of.
Yeah.
And she did. She should have been able to win.
Yeah.
But instead of letting her win and go on, they decided to have it as a double knockout because we don't want to have to deal with women. Literally every girl, other than Tamari, because it was the foreign village, every girl was knocked out.
And see, this
10-10 was knocked out. By Tamari.
A what if scenario? If Sakura had beaten Ino and went on to the next battle, who would she have fought?
Yeah. And she would have been taken away for training. But she would have been taken away for training. Because the reason why Naruto and Sasuke were taken away was because they were going on.
Yeah.
Literally, it was because they were going on. So she would have been taken away for training. Probably by Kurenai.
Kurenai, yeah.
Could have been, yeah.
And she would have been great.
Yeah.
She could have been fantastic. And that's the aspect. It's like, who would she have fought, though?
Well, the thing is, if she had gone on and if she'd have won, they probably would have put her against Tamari because 2 girls. So it wouldn't have been Tamari and Shikamaru.
Yeah.
Because that's what they like to do. They like to put the girls against the girls.
But I have to say, it would have been interesting to see her go against one of the guys.
It would have been, yeah. No, absolutely would have been. And sure, if she had gone against, say, Gaara and been completely destroyed, she would have been annihilated.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be like, well, that's fair.
Well, to be honest, like with that, she would have probably been like what Hinata was in the Neji fight. She was the catalyst for Naruto wanting to fight him. So therefore, if it was Sakura against Gaara, then obviously Naruto would want to fight Gaara then.
Exactly.
Whereas like before, like during the series, it's just a case of like, I don't really want to fight him. He's scary. Like, but I will if I have to.
Because I'm trying to think who she could have gone against, because like it's so interesting, and at the same time as well, it's like I would have been happy if she had even just gone against, remember that sound ninja, the girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool.
That would have been cool, yeah. Because it would have been a proper grudge match.
Yeah.
Proper grudge match.
Yeah.
The scenarios that people could come up with, like, for these things, like, you could go on for...
even in it, like, they had other characters that had so much potential that they brought in later on in Shippuden, like Sai. Sai was not utilised to the point that he could be.
Look, most people looked at him like as if he was nothing, and then when it came to the war, they were like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah, right. Well, you have to consider the thing that people keep ignoring is the fact that Sai was an Anbu. He was an Anbu at the age of 14.
Yeah.
He's like as powerful, if not more so, than Kakashi.
Anbu Black Ops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like more than Kakashi. And they played him down so much. And even at that, he was a stone cold killer. He was a stone cold killer until Naruto cracked his shell.
I think, like, for a lot of like even though we know like Kishimoto isn't very good with women, I think his biggest flaw is the fact that he downplays a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Like he will establish them and then will forget
Yeah.
about them. He'll just
Yeah.
hide them in the background.
Yeah. He admitted it himself. He loved Sasuke. Sasuke was his favorite character. And he just had this obsession with keeping Sasuke in the fold and keeping him powerful. Sasuke didn't train for anything. He didn't train for
He had a
any of his
natural.
powers.
Yeah.
It came naturally. A
It
lot of
came
stuff
naturally. He got another tadpole in his eye, or he fermented in a bucket.
Yeah.
But then again, it does also play into Naruto's side where he's the opposite.
Yeah.
They were
has
the
to work
opposites
for
to
everything.
each other.
Yeah.
So, which
But
was the
then you
trend that was,
had Sai, who came in as a complete natural, really talented, really strong, but was an emotional shut-in. And you saw this beautiful growth where he realized, oh, I do have emotions. Now I need to learn how to interact with people. I need to learn how to be human.
and his
again.
interactions are fun.
They're so much fun, and he's learning. He's genuinely trying. He's reading books on how to interact with people, and it's so cute. It's so adorable,
Mhm.
but you can see his
And he needed
genuine.
both.
Yeah,
He needed team. He needed the team
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
He wouldn't have been able to get half where he got to.
Exactly. Yeah. And he had
I think-
so much potential. And then they worked it up to this point where Sai was starting to become his own person. He was starting to become really valuable to the team. And then Sasuke comes back and Sai is forgotten about.
Not only like with Sai, but also like at the same time you have Yamato, who was
Yamato.
brought in essentially as a glorified guardian for Naruto, just to
Yeah.
make sure he doesn't go crazy with his Jinchuriki.
And the thing
But
is,
by near the end of it, he is basically reduced to a background character, forced to watch Orochimaru.
Yeah.
It's
Even at that, this pisses me off, is that he is a clone of the first.
yeah.
He is this amazing character that can do this amazing lost art.
Yeah.
And nobody's in batting an eyelid in this.
Nope.
yeah.
Like, what? It
And
makes no sense.
like he in the war, they kidnap him. They
Yeah.
go all out the way to kidnap him to
Yep.
use his body
Yep.
so they can create things. Like,
Yep.
and he's not powerful.
Like really?
Like,
Yeah, no, it makes no sense whatsoever.
this
It makes
is the thing.
no sense.
And the thing I have with Sai is that a lot of people will do this, and it's because they were basically shown to do it, is that they compared him to Sasuke.
Mm.
He is not Sasuke. Sasuke is his own
No.
character.
It's
Like,
because
and-
they had dark eyes and dark hair.
And because he
And
was a
pale
member
skin.
of Team 7,
Yeah.
the new Team 7, like they needed another member. So they gave
Mhm.
him this character who was like very dark, and but like the thing is, with the difference between him and Sasuke is that Sasuke had emotions, he just didn't show them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he was a broody teen, all right? Like he had issues, fair enough.
Hmm.
Sai, on the other hand, was used as a soulless black-hearted killer. Okay,
Mhm.
he wasn't raised to have emotions.
No.
You know, and this is how it was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I find that, like, obviously, like with this, we didn't realize that, like, a deep dive, like, especially for Naruto, you could actually go on for hours and hours and hours. We literally
yeah.
could actually do a second episode alone
Yeah.
on Naruto again.
Yeah.
But obviously, like,
we have to wrap it up. Obviously,
do,
you
like,
can't
it's
be
just-
going on forever. So, in conclusion, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Really enjoyed it. It's like any other anime where It has its flaws, but there's a lot more good to it than there is bad,
Mm.
and is somehow allowed me, like, for me to keep coming back to it.
Mm.
It's very easy for anyone who's new to it to pick up. Very easy to watch through. Like
Mm.
you said earlier, you could jump in at any point in it
Yeah.
and not have to worry because guaranteed the story's gonna be explained to you anyway.
Oh, you'll get your recap.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a
How
lot
about
of
you,
recap.
Anya? Final thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's one of my all-time favorites. It's in my top three, right, of animes of all time, right? I will always love it. But at the same time, it can be deeply frustrating, and characters could have used a lot more development. But at the same time, I mean, some aspects of the main characters did get a lot of character development. It may not have been what you wanted, but it's what you got. You know, and sometimes they go forward with something and then backtrack and then go
Yeah.
forward with it again in a different angle where you're like, I like the original one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is one of the, it's a classic anime.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're like, and you know, people can really get invested into the characters, and this is what's happening right here. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
couldn't you done this? I love that character. So when one of them is gone, as we've said before, they don't mind killing off characters.
No.
When they're gone, they're gone. More often, as I said, more often than not. Not saying
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Lorraine?
Uh,
Thoughts?
my final thoughts on this would be, as an artist and as a writer, it has been one of the major influences, inspirations in my career. It influenced my art style majorly. So anyone who looks at my art style can see there's a lot of Naruto in it. And it also influenced me as a writer to the point where my novels are actually based off a Naruto fanfiction. That's what they started off as, was a fanfiction on Naruto that I
I know which
completely
one.
rewrote. So Naruto for me has been an integral part. Wait, what? No, no, it wasn't that fan fiction. Are you reading my fan fiction page? No, yeah, for me, it has been an integral part of my growth as an artist and a writer. It has inspired me a heck of a lot. So yeah, it's well worth a watch.
Yeah, like it,
Porn.
ca-
Wait, what?
I know which one she's talking about.
Hang on a minute. That's
Shush.
not the one I turned into a novel.
so, yeah, we can't recommend it enough. We do.
Yes.
We're in agreement with that. It's definitely an anime that you should definitely watch. Or if
Great
you have
beginner
watched
anime.
it, please give us your thoughts. Like if you agree
Yeah.
with some of our theories or things we've changed, or in terms of our points on what is done wrong and what is done right, please let us know. You can find us on the Nerds of Us channel on YouTube. You can go find Lorraine and her Crafty Like a Fox page on Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, and where else?
No, that's it.
That's it.
That's all. That's all I got,
Facebook
bro.
and Instagram.
That's it. That's it.
So-
That's it. I don't do the tweeting. I don't do
don't
them
don't
bird
tweet.
whistles.
Not on that Twitter as
No,
it's
that sparrow bourdon noise thingy.
no, but
Yeah.
please go follow. Please go follow Lorraine there. She does some
No, don't
really-
follow me. I don't need stalkers.
Not in that way.
No,
Shush,
do follow me.
Jesus.
Follow me. Give me a like. Give us a like.
Go follow her
Like
page. Check out her cool merchandise. Please buy some. Also, you can follow Foxy Bros on Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram, Fox and Áine, where you'll see a lot of beat art and pixel art, and we do a lot of comics as well. But
And remember, folks, Christmas is coming and we will deliver.
yes, we will. We will post. but
Plug,
and
plug,
also
plug,
like
plug.
go check out if you're into your games. Go on to Foxy Bros Gaming on Twitch. You'll check us out there. We're playing different games most days of the week. So please check it out there. Thank you to Áine for coming on. Thank you to Lorraine for coming on. We will be back with more.
I
We'll
realize
leave-
this is a podcast and I
Yeah.
keep wiggling my eyebrows even though they're not going to see it. Wiggle, wiggle.
It's a podcast, but I'm
Right.
thinking of doing video. So,
Oh, hell yeah.
so, but this has been the anime deep dive, or in Japan, it's called what?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
It is called Anime no Shosai.
That's the one.
Yeah, there you
Anime
go.
no Shosai.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta put on that cute voice, yo.
Tat yoke. Right, but yeah, if you've enjoyed it, please follow, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. But
Or
until
send
then,
us money. We take money and checks.
yes, please send me your money. But
Ugh.
other than that, enjoy. See you in the next one.
Later,
Bye.
taters.